Hi, good morning class and welcome to my next lecture of managerial economics, that is lecture 10. So in this lecture we are going to discuss about the market structure, perfect competition and determination of price. So what is market? Market is a place where buyers and sellers exist for purchase of a commodity in order to get maximum satisfaction. So that is a market. Now we are going to discuss about the various types of market structure that can be found in different types of markets. So in this lecture we are going to have a detailed discussion of market structure, perfect competition and determination of price, that in a situation or in any market situation how the prices are determined or what are the criteria of determining the price of the commodity. So let's proceed with the lecture. So what is market? In common usage, market refers to a particular place or locality where the goods are bought and sold. Yes, it is a place where the goods are bought and sold. It means whole of the network in which buyers and sellers of a commodity keep in close touch with each other. Yes. For example, if you go to the vegetable market, it is also a place where different vegetable sellers used to sell their commodities and where different buyers buy or purchase the vegetables according to their satisfaction. So that particular area is known as a market, or we can say it is a network of buyers and sellers for selling and purchasing of a commodity according to the need, desire and satisfaction of the customers. Definitions. According to Stonier and Hodge, by a market economist, any organization whereby buyers and sellers of goods are kept in close touch with each other. Yes, it is a place where buyers and sellers are in close coordination with each other by knowing the price of the commodity, by knowing the quality of the commodity, by knowing the background area of the commodity, that whether the commodity which the customer is going to purchase, whether it is fresh or not. So these things makes buyers and sellers to come close to each other, and that's why it is known as goods that helps in keeping in close touch with each other. Each other here means we are talking about buyers and sellers. Next definition, Karen Kress, the market in economics is simply the network of dealing in any factor or product between buyers and sellers. Yes, whenever you are dealing with buying and purchasing or buying and selling of any of the product or of any of a commodity, so that is known as a market. So the market includes any area over which buyers and sellers of a commodity are in direct touch with each other. Yes, where sellers are free to sell their commodities and buyers are also free that they can buy the commodity from any of the seller. Essentials of market. So what are the things that helps market to become a market? First is market is an area, not a place. It is an area, not a place. Second, presence of buyers and sellers. If there is an area and in that area there are number of buyers and sellers, then that place or that area is known as a market. Availability of commodity. Yes, if area is there, buyers and sellers are there, then there should be a commodity which sellers used to sell and buyers used to buy. Close touch between buyers and sellers. Close touch means that the customers and sellers should have information regarding the commodity, regarding the price, regarding the quality of a commodity which the seller is selling and which the customer is purchasing. So these are the essential elements which makes an area a market. Extent of market. Extent means size. Here we are talking about size. It means the size and area of a market. Market of commodity may be local, confined to a particular village or area. Yes, it can be up to a certain area. It can be up to a village, or it can be within the local boundaries of a city. For example, every area has one day market. For example, if we talk about बुध बाज़ार, मंगल बाज़ार, तो हर एरिया में एक वीकडे ऐसा होता है कि जब वहाँ पर मार्केट लगता है और वहाँ से गांव से सेलर्स आते हैं अपनी कमोडिटी को बेचने के लिए, और वहाँ पर बायर्स आते हैं बहुत दूर दूर से जस्ट टू परचेज द क्वालिटी कमोडिटी फ्रॉम दोज सेलर्स. So that is known as a market. While the market of other commodities may be national or international, it depends that whether the commodity in which the buyers and sellers are dealing with, so whether it is in the national boundaries of a country or outside the boundary of a country. That means we are talking about international. Factors affecting extent of market. Now, how the market of a particular commodity can be affected. The first is demand. If the demand is increasing, that means the commodity is having a very good market, and if the demand of the commodity decreases, that means the seller is in a position of facing loss. So demand plays an important role which affects the market of a commodity. Second is portability. Portability means carrying goods from one place to another with low cost. That means where the seller wants to sell the goods, up to that place the seller has to make the goods available. So the cost should be low or the cost should be minimum. Durability. Durability means the time and the nature of the commodity. For example, if you are dealing in a milk product, then that should be consumed within a day. That means you have to sell all the commodities within a day. So it means the time period means which have the date of expiry that you have to take into account. So durability means the time period and the nature of the commodity should be in the minds of the seller. Adequacy of supply. Adequacy means that if there is a shortage of supply, then it is the prime responsibility of the sellers that demand should be fulfilled within a given period of time. That means seller should always be in a position to make adequate supply of the commodity in the market. There should be no shortage of a commodity in the market. So that is known as adequacy of supply or regular supply of the commodity in the market. Means of transportation and communication. That means what is the means of transportation that the seller is using of making the commodity available in the market. That means, for example, if you are having your warehouse 5 kilometers away from the market, then what are the sources or what are the means of transportation and communication you are using to make the commodity available in the market. So that is known as means of transportation. Either you are using your own vehicle, either you have purchased your own chota hathi, or you have purchased your own truck for transportation of goods and services. So that is up to the seller. Stable currency. Stable currency, that means sound banking system. Here we are talking about the availability of the currency. If the seller is dealing in the selling of a commodity, he should have a sufficient currency so that these buyers should not face any problem in purchasing the commodity from the seller. Government policy. All the commodities which the sellers are selling in the market should be within the limits of the government policy. Whatever the policy is being announced by the government, all the buying and selling of the commodities in a market should be according to the government policy. That means according to the rules and regulations which the government has implemented. Methods of sale. Methods of sale means whatever the method is being given for the sale of that particular commodity, that has to be followed in the market. So these are some of the factors by which the market of a particular commodity can be affected. Types of market. Now we are going to discuss that how many types of market. अभी तक हम मार्केट जाते थे, कमोडिटी लेते थे और वापस आ जाते थे. नाउ व्हेन यू मूव टू द मार्केट, नाउ यू कैन easily recognize whether you are purchasing in a perfect competition, imperfect competition or monopolistic competition. So there are three types of markets: perfect, imperfect and monopolistic. Perfect competition. It is a state of market in which there are large number of buyers and sellers and a homogeneous product. So market, it is a market where number of buyers and sellers are available and they are selling the same product. When we talk about homogeneous, that means same product. In the words of John Robinson, perfect competition prevails when the demand for the output of each producer is perfectly elastic. Firstly, the number of sellers is large, so the output of any one seller is negligibly small proportion of the total output. That means if there are number of sellers selling the same commodity in the market, then the proportion of the output can be varies from one seller to the other seller. Secondly, the buyers are all alike in respect of the choice between rival sellers. That means whatever the commodity that the customer or the buyer is purchasing from a seller, then they are not supposed to be a rival seller, that they don't purchase the goods from the rival seller. That means they don't have the choice, or there should be no choice like to purchase the commodities from the rival seller. So there is no such concept should be followed when the goods are being sold in the perfect competition. So market is perfect. When all the above conditions are fulfilled, then that market can be known by the name of perfect competition. That means everything should be perfect in that market. तो जब ये सारी कंडीशंस फुलफिल हो जाती हैं तो वो मार्केट हो जाता है आपका परफेक्ट कंपटीशन. Essential elements of perfect competition. Now, what makes the market as a perfect market? There are large number of buyers and sellers, homogeneous product, that means every seller is selling the same product, no product differentiation is there. Free entry and exit of firms, that means any seller is free to sell the commodity in the market and any seller can go out of the market. There is no time and period boundation for the seller to stay in the market. Perfect knowledge of market, that means the seller who is selling the goods and the person who is buying the goods. So on both part, whether the person is a buyer or a seller, both should have a complete knowledge of the market. If we talk about the market, that means what type of commodity is going to be sold in the market, what is the price level, what is the quality, what is the date of expiry. So that means every seller and every buyer should have a complete knowledge of a market. कभी कभी ऐसा होता है कि हम लोग को किसी भी चीज़ की ज़रूरत पड़ जाती है. वी यूज टू आस्क फ्रॉम आवर फ्रेंड्स दैट आई वांट टू परचेज दिस थिंग, सो वेयर शुड आई गो. So that means every person is aware of the market, that वो commodity कहाँ पर easily और cheap price में available होगी. That means perfect knowledge of the market. Absence of selling and transportation cost. If the person is selling the same product, if the sellers are selling the same product, then there should be no transportation cost and selling cost, because market is the same, and in that market every seller has to sell their goods. So what is the use of transportation cost and the selling cost? So these are the essential features which makes the market as a perfect market. Price and output determination in perfect competition. Suppose the person is selling the goods in the perfect market or the perfect competition, then what are the things that he should take into consideration while deciding the price and output in that market situation? Perfect competition refers to a market situation where there are a large number of buyers and sellers dealing in homogeneous product. Homogeneous product means the same products. Moreover, under perfect competition, there are no legal, social, or technological barriers on the entry or exit of organization. That means there is no such rule, or there should be no such barrier of getting entry or exit within that market area. In perfect competition, sellers and buyers are fully aware about the current market price of the product. That means whatever the product the seller is selling and whatever the product the buyer is buying, so they both have the complete knowledge of the market price of the commodity which they are going to buy and which the seller is going to sell. Therefore, none of them sell or buy at higher prices. If you are aware of the prices, then there should be no price discrimination. That means if the price of the commodity is 100, then every seller has to sell that commodity at a price of 100 rupees. They cannot charge higher price because you are already aware of the market price of the commodity. As a result, the same price prevails in the market under perfect competition. So if the market is perfect, then the same price has to be followed of the commodities which the sellers are selling in that particular market area. So these are the points which helps in determining the price and output in the perfect competition. The market price of products in perfect competition is determined by the industry. Yes, they are the sellers or the buyers cannot change the price, but the price is only determined by the industry. This implies that in perfect competition, the market price of product is determined by taking into account two market forces, namely market demand and market supply. So industry has to fix the price of the commodity if the commodity is dealing in perfect competition by the two forces of demand and supply. If the demand is higher, then the industry will charge higher prices, and if the demand is less, then the company or the industry will fix the low prices. So the process of determining the prices of a commodity is only taken by the industry, not by the buyers and not by the sellers. So this is all for the perfect competition. So just make a revision of this and we will meet in the next lecture. Till then, stay safe, be happy. Thank you, class.